Okay guys, welcome to Fish in the Garden State. As you can see in front of me, we're going to talk about jigs today. One of the videos that was requested was a how-to of jigs, and I'm going to go over the types of jigs I use. Every spot's a different category, and we're going to go over some of the trailers and how I fish some of these. And I got my jig box here, and we'll kind of go over what I got. So, all right, for starters, there's lots of types of jigs, right? We'll start at the end here, and we'll kind of go through them all, and I'll tell you what I got. So down here at the end, these are finesse jigs. I have two different types. They're smaller, more compact. Obviously, colors, they come in all the colors, everything else does. But it's a smaller, little finesse jig. It's got more of a swim jig head style to it, sleek, tapered, slim. And then this one, you'll be able to see right here has a rattle. Not sure if you'll be able to hear it, but this is, a rattling style jig. So I have two different types. Then we go to a finesse jig. If you notice, it's got more of a stand-up approach to it. Normally, these two types fall on lighter rig setups or spinning rig setups. Normally that's how I fish both of these. So finesse, you want to get the profile a little smaller, stands up a little bit. We'll talk about trailers here in a minute. We then have our standard swim jigs. You can see the heads thinner, more designed for cutting through the water, sleek, slim. And then this one here, this is the Bassano baits that I have personally designed for Bassano baits. This jig here. And we're going to be giving one of these away. We'll talk about that here in a minute. My favorite category, bladed jigs. I am a big chatterbait fan. Bladed jig, whatever you want to call it. A couple different types. Bigger heads, different styles. There's Freedom style, which is this guy here. So you notice the head's on a, it's nice and free, loose, better for coming through cover. And then just the original. All three of these, I have one bladed jig that I got in, I believe it was Mystery Tackle Box, that is Buddha baits. But I am a Z-Man fan. I only buy Z-Man chatterbaits. Love them. All different colors, bluegill, sunfish patterns, black and red patterns, black and blue patterns. We're going to talk about this little trailer here in a minute. We then have our flipping jigs. This is another Bassano jig. Kind of see the flat head. A little better for, flipping it under docks. My next favorite is football jigs. Casting them out, bringing them back in. All different shapes, sizes, colors. Football jigs, one of my favorites, other than the bladed jig. And then we have our flipping and pitching style jigs. Bigger heads, a little thicker, denser, going a little deeper. This one just happens to be. And then this one I just happen to have the trailer already on it, so the interrupted shooting. So obviously you can see, jigs come in all shapes, sizes, weights, colors. I have all different kinds in here. I think this is a Wahoo swim jig. There's a bunch of different ones that came in a Mystery or Lucky Tackle Box, one of the others. But you can kind of see the way they are all shaped, the way they stand, how you fish them. So I do some modifications on my jigs. As you can see, this one here has been modified because I've used this one. Is I trim the guard, the weed guard, just about to the tip of the hook. It makes it a much cleaner for setting the hook and getting hook sets versus, just take this one for instance, this one's untrimmed. You see how much higher it is, and it just makes it harder to, you're going to get that hook all the way through all that and get that through. So I trim those. Yes, it does make it possibly get hung up a little bit more. It's not quite as weedless, but the return on the fish is going to be worth it. So, and I would do that for, every type except obviously the ones that don't have them, and that's the chatterbaits, the bladed jigs. So big flipping jig. This one here, flipping it in the cover, pitching it around docks. It's where I kind of use it for. On the shore a lot where I can't reach certain areas or I'm in tight wooded areas and, bank fishing, I can pitch this one, toss it in. The one pond that I go to a lot in lake, it's got some quick drop-offs. It goes to 10 feet deep in a matter of 3 foot off the bank. So I can, tight with woods, trees, I can just flip this out a little bit, get it near some of the cover that's laying in the water, and it's been successful. Football jigs. I flip them and pitch them, same like I do with this one, but I can also cast them out and drag these along the bottom. If you notice, it's got a little more of a stand-up appearance versus the straight appearance. This one's going to be more on the fall and swimming through. This one here, rubbing the bottom, and I just pull it and drag it along the bottom. Short hops with it as well. This is my second favorite style. The flatter flipping style, you can see the flatter head on it there. It's for skipping it kind of under docks, skipping into some tight cover areas, some lay downs that you can't quite access, and you want to get under there, see if you can find the monsters that are hiding. Chatterbaits are bladed jigs. Cast them out. You can, all kinds of types of retrieves you can do with this. You can do it steady where you feel the blade in the water and you feel that chatterbait, making that disruption and making that noise in the water. You can hop them. You can reel them in, stop. Reel them in, stop. It's finding the cadence that works best for what the fish are biting. I throw it on, sides of cover, down the sides of banks, all the way around straight open water. I have had probably my most success fishing a chatterbait. This is one of my baits of confidence when it gets tight and it says, go to a couple, trusty baits. Obviously Senkos are one. This is another one. This is always going to be tied on one of my rods 95% of the time. Swim jigs, it's basically what it is. You swim it back to the boat. It's like this, but with less disturbance. They're going to be paddle tail trailers. I use Kitech swimming trailers, or I use a Gary Yamamoto swim trailer you've seen in a video before. I actually left those trailers out in the car. I got some other ones we're going to talk about because I don't have them with me. They're out in my car. But the swim jigs, cast them out, reel them in, get that paddle going, and imitate that bait fish swimming. That's what it is. It's a swimming bait fish. Finesse jigs, whether it's the finesse or the micro jig, basically you just get it down there. Little movements. That's why I use the spinning rods. Little bit of, kind of the hopping motion. Let it sit, and because you can see on this one the way it stands up in that stand-up profile, you want to put a trailer on that that's going to mimic a crawfish. This one here is a perfect crawfish. It stands up, and you get the little pinchers floating. So some trailers. So for the micro, here's one that I plan on using on some of the finesse ones. We get this in, I believe, one of the boxes, but it's got the little appendages that are going to flutter in the water. So that's what you want to see. So that would be for like my micro and my finesse, something little, something like that. I also have a small version of the Zoom Super Chunk. I have the Super Chunk Junior. This here with its paddles, and you can see I clearly use it. I got it right here. These big paddles, you want these things to paddle. It's imitating that crawfish, right? And then you got some other trailers that are crawfish. You can use rage tail crawls to mimic those crawfish, those pinchers. You want those appendages moving on almost all these other type of jigs except these two, swim and chatter. You want either a little split tail trailer, something that's going to, flutter around in the water. You could even throw something like this Havoc, the Deuce on there, and you get these little appendages that they have, and they get flapping around, something that mimics more of a swimming pattern. That's the important part with these. Preferably, I like the paddle tails, or Z-Man actually includes these with some of their original chatterbaits. I've caught a lot of fish on these little tiny trailers, just having those little split tails flopping around in there. So it's really based on, preference and what you like. But I tell you right now, I've caught more fish on Zoom Super Chunks, on football jigs, flipping jigs, than I have with any other trailer. Chatterbaits, the Kitechs have been really good. Still haven't caught one with the Gary Yamamoto yet. That was one that I'm changing up different. I like the Kitech because it's got the the ribs down the side of it. Works really well, so I like those. But with how much I like the Senkos, I figured I got to try his swimtail trailers as well. It's definitely not that it hasn't caught fish. It's more to the fact that the lake I'm in now is fully loaded with heavy grass, the one I fish predominantly, and I haven't gotten away from it to really give it a fighting chance. It's picking up grass almost everywhere I go because it's so heavily grass matted. So it's not really working well for me in that situation, but the Senko's killing it. So, there's a type of jigs. So let's talk about the giveaway. We are going to give away this jig here. I've been working with Bassano Baits. They are one of my sponsors, and they are a Croatian company. All right, sorry about that. So it's back to this. So, been working with Bassano, and they had me work on getting some jigs made in the U.S., and we're working on getting them in production in the U.S. So it's a Croatian-German company doing well there, doing well in Canada, has some pro guys fishing them in Canada. This is the jig that I designed in the U.S. So I basically selected the color pattern, the strands. It's a 44 strand jig, 22 blue, 22 black, blue flake, and the head. So I have designed this jig for Bassano Baits. I am going to be giving one of these away. What you need to do to enter my giveaway. So if you want to win that jig right there, a nice little swim bait style, it's a swim jig, black and blue swim jig. We're designing this for a special project, hopefully still to come. More about that later once I have that all tied down. But if you want to win that guy right there, this is what you need to do. Tell me what your favorite jig is. Tell me what you thought of this video, techniques you use, maybe something different than I do. I'm not going to repeat, what the pros say on their videos. This is how I fish these jigs. This is how it's been successful for me, from altercations and, alterations, and changing, things like that, to the trailers I use, to how I fish with the certain types, the flat bottom jigs that I find are easier to flip underneath docks, how I fish the chatterbaits and the trailers with the swim jigs, from finesse and micro jigs. Tell me what one you like. Tell me what kind of trailers work good for you. Tell me anything about jig fishing that you want to talk about. You have to like the video, for one. You have to subscribe to my channel. Like, subscribe, tell me, and make a comment on there. We're going to randomly select it. Tell me what you like. Tell me, what you would do with the jig if you won with it. What kind of trailer you want to put on it. Anything. Let's talk jigs. We're here to talk jigs right now, and that's what we're doing. So thanks for tuning in. I'll kind of give you a sneak peek more in my jig and chatterbait box and kind of just everything we got going on here again. I appreciate all the subscribers. Thank you again, and thanks for watching Fishing the Garden State.